Hi guys, it's Claire. I'm back with another album share for you. This is album number 2. I shared with you the other day album number 1, which was from 1990 to the year 2000. So 10 years worth of scrapbooking in there. Obviously I didn't have a digital camera back then. I didn't have many photos. So it was just making an album from when Alan and I first got together up to the year 2000. So it was bits and pieces, a bit odd, you know, not really a real scrapbook, as I said. This one, album number 2, is just 1 year's worth of scrapbooking. This is from the year 2001 to 2002. So I've got a few more photos. They're still not the best because it was still before my digital camera, but I was taking more photos. So this is what we've got in this one. We start off on the first page, and I'm actually pregnant again with their second child now. So again, I've done a pregnant again layout with the scan photos of, this is going to be Sophie. So a really simple sort of scrapbook layout to start the album. These papers I think from a K&Co pad that I loved and treasured forever, so when I finally used them it felt like, you know, you're using your best papers, which we don't tend to hoard things so much now, but we did then. Moving on, this is when she was born, so this is Sophie being born, Alan holding her in hospital, her bracelet again. I've made a pocket here to pop some extra photos in with little tabs on the top that you can pull out and see other photos. And then we've got a page which I've used a pocket page for, all 6x4s with photos of Shani meeting her little sister for the first time, and my mum and dad there. And this is obviously still at the hospital. Again, the photos aren't amazing, they're all blurry, but it's what I've got, you know, so I'm glad that they're in the album. More photos of Sophie as a baby. Still obviously this 6x4 pocket page. I find these pages really good for this when you've just got odd photos that you need to get scrapped or get in the album. These pocket pages are brilliant because you can just put any photo on there, pretty papers, and make a really nice layout. The same here. Baby photos, Sophie's first bath this time. These are actually Project Life cards that I'm using, so it was when I first started buying Project Life cards, you know, and making something with those. More baby photos. And more. Sophie's got no hair. I mean, look how bad these photos here. They're really dark and underexposed, but I'm glad I've got them. You know, they are the original photos, and it's nice to have them. This is a gift tag off of, I think, a bunch of flowers I was given after she was born. So I've throughout the whole album I've included bits and pieces, things that meant something to me, you know, and they're in here where they can be. More photos again. This little cross-stitch Pooh Bear was on a card that was given to me when she was born. And now we've got a proper layout again. So again, these are my early days of scrapbooking. I should add actually, none of these, I didn't make them in date order. They've been put into date order, but they haven't been made in date order. This is still a work in progress, all these albums. The very first one, the one I showed you before, 1990 to 2000, is done. I can't do anything more to that, the same as this one. But I made the pages at different times. You know, I've added them into date order. When we get up a few more albums time, we'll get to where I've got digital photos still on my computer or on my hard drive that I'm slowly printing off and making them into layouts now. So I'm still doing it, as I say, it's a work in progress. But here again, I've used some really pretty papers. I brought these on one of my very first trips up to Alexandra Palace. I can't remember what the brand was. I think it might have been SEI. And I've beaded and sewn and, you know, scalloped edge on the layout. Again, a really blurry photo, but it was what we had. This is our first trip to Disneyland, or Disney World I should say, in November 2001. So Sophie was just, I think, 8 months old, 7 or 8 months old at the time. So I took lots of photos. I still don't think I had a digital camera, but I was taking photos and getting the films, the pictures developed. So you can see how basic the embellishments are. You know, a lot of basic things that we wouldn't use now. our Disney dollar in there, which is signed by Mickey Mouse, which is nice. Our Epcot passport, which I don't know if they do anymore. Epcot badge. You know, I used to put a lot more just general stickers and things. I'd put anything in here really. Our Walt Disney World ticket. Various pictures that you get. But really basic, sort of old-fashioned scrapbooking, you know, with your tickets and shaped photos and, as I say, the Disney dollars. A trip to Blizzard Beach and Wet n Wild as well. Okay, so that's Disney. Then we've got some more professional photos, this time of Sophie. These were some photos that Sophie had done by Richard Lemon, which is a photographer in Brighton. You had like a first year session, so you had when she was first born, 6 months old, and then a year old. So I've made that into a double page spread. Again, using papers that I've brought specifically as scrapbook papers, and started to cut out my own flowers and make my own embellishments. And so do a bit more actual scrapbooking. This one is one I made quite recently. Well, when I say quite recently, a few years ago. But using punches and gems. Kept it quite simple. Again, it's another professional photo of Sophie. Very faded, very old, but it's the original photo. Then one of both girls. Very simple. Kept it a really, really simple page. And this, still the same photo shoot. And one of Sophie a bit older. I think this could have been Olan Meals, I can't remember. And back to more odd photos that I just had that I found in the special box. This is Shani at school in 2001. They were dressed up, her and her friends were dressed up as St Trinian's girls. Odd photos of Sophie, another school play, a Little Canada school trip. You know, where you just have these odd photos that linger around and you've got to do something with them. Shani's doll's house, which we still have now. My dad actually built this and my mum and I decorated it and put the lighting in and whatnot. Shani was given it when she was 5 years old. And got some photos of how it used to look. Sophie. These is again a pocket page layout. These are the ones that are just 6 by 6 square. So I've kept it simple, added pretty papers and got my photos in here. This little girl here, Aisha, was Shani's best friend at school, and we ended up actually fostering her temporarily. Her parents were going through a bit of a rough stage, so we looked after her. She lived with us for about a year. I haven't got that many photos of her. I wish I had more. We're still in touch now. She's a lovely girl, or lovely lady I should say now. Another picture of the girls. And you can see my scrapbooking hasn't, you know, it's not brilliant yet. It's basic papers, basic embellishments, but the pictures are in there. I think now I've actually got a digital camera, a very early digital camera, because I vaguely remember printing these out, doing these on my computer myself, these photos. Some of Sophie in the garden playing with some daisies, so I've found daisy papers and added a little pull-out book here which you can actually open up, and I think there's a concertina book in there with more photos. Oh, this was our boating days. Mum and Dad used to have a boat moored at Brighton Marina, so we would all go out on our boating trips. Again, Sophie's just a baby here. We're in 2002, so she's a year old and we're taking her out on the boat. Alan, my brother, my mum, all going off the back of the boat, jet skiing. But page-wise, I've actually brought these pages specifically, or brought these papers specifically, and made them into layouts, knowing that, you know, knowing what I was doing with them. It's where I first started, as I say, to get into scrapbooking. So still basic, but I'm hand cutting the flowers and making them coordinate with the colours that are in the photos more, which I hadn't really done before. This is the beginning of scrapbooking. This is another one of Aisha, Shani, Sophie. And again, I've hand cut all this. This was before we had electronic cutting machines, so all these flowers are hand cut from papers. I think we've got chipboard letters, but a hand cut S. All basic, but where I started to scrapbook. Then I've got another 6 by 4 pocket page, papers are all from a 6x6 pad, and just a day out at the park with the girls. Basic photos, and as I say, not brilliant, they're a little bit blurry, but they're in the album. And then we get to Christmas 2002. So again, I've done this a little bit later, put these photos together. I'm finding them on my laptop just as and when. Wherever I find them, I'm working on that page and getting into the album in date order. So we've got 6x4 again, Christmas papers, and then a 12x12 page, still coordinating Christmas papers. But yeah, another one of our Christmases. Again, my great nan's there, who's sadly passed away. A lot of you that have been coming to my workshops for a long time actually know my great nan. You met her at the very beginning of me doing my craft workshops 8 or 9 years ago, maybe a little more actually. But yeah, it's nice to have these photos in here. They might not be the best quality, but it's great they're in the album. And then we've got the girls out on their bikes. Like I told you the other day, Shani was a real tomboy, into her quad bikes and always going out with her dad doing this sort of thing. Sophie, not so much. We brought her a car, but she didn't really like it. It was not her thing. But yeah, a layout made. I've added some more, you know, embellishments, cogs and wheels and things that look bike and car-like. And that's it for this album. Next album you're going to see is going to be 2003 and 2004. Again, we're still quite basic. We haven't moved on to what I call modern day scrapbooking yet. That starts in about 2012 or 13. But you'll see as we get there. It's nice going through these actually and sharing them with you. But just remember, they're a work in progress. Okay, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.